Hello everyone, greetings to all watching the video. I welcome you all to another episode of Convo with Apricus. Friends, our topic of discussion today is stress management at workplace. And to throw light on this topic, we have Dr. Sapna Sugandha with us. Dr. Sapna is Associate Professor in the Department of Management Sciences, Mahatma Gandhi Central University in Motihari, Bihar, India. She has over 13 years of experience in teaching and research. She is also a member of editorial board in Management and Finance Bulletin. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome to Convo with Apricus. We shall start the discussion.
Thank you so much.
Ma'am, stress management is a major issue faced by professionals of today. Ma'am, could you please explain what are the major causes of stress at workplace?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for asking this question. Yeah, it is very important topic when we are talking stress in the organization. Like we can say, if we are working in the organization, we are having the stress. So there are various regions we can see it one by one. The first thing that what I am considering in the organization, that is the long working hours sometimes we are actually facing. What is happening that we are having certain schedule of just work that is can be 8 hours or 6 hours or 10 hours sometimes. But what is happening sometimes, if some policies are being implemented in the organization, then we can have the longer working hours and we can just feel that there's a proper balance is not existing in our personal and the professional life. So that can be one of the regions of the stress, that the long working hours is there. Sometimes what is happening that we can have the tight deadlines. Like we need to implement certain things in the organization. We have to just go for certain, just to achieve certain deadlines, and that can be very tight. Like we cannot do our the regular things in a proper way. So that can also give us the stress. Being an employee, that is also very important, just cope up with this type of a stress. The third thing what I can see just that can give the stress in the organization is in the organization. When we talk about the changes, it means we are actually talking about the changes in the technology, changes in the procedure, changes in the policies, changes in the duties of the employees. So these are certain changes which are actually regular happening in the organization. So what is happening? Like if we can have just some example. If some technology is being implemented in the organization, we need to train the employee just to work on that. So in that very moment, people are not very trained and they are actually at their comfort zone. So they don't want to move from that comfort zone. So that is also giving them the stress. They actually want to be as they are. So that changes are giving them the stress. So change management is also very necessary when we talk about the organizational stress. So these are certain stressors we can say that is prevailing in the organization nowadays. Or some in other regions we can say about the stress is the lack of the autonomy. Actually, lack of the autonomy means we can say some organization they are having the different departments, and in that different departments they are having the different bosses or the supervisors. So the supervisors, they are not giving certain autonomy and certain liberty to the employees just to think on the issues, just to innovate certain something that is actually beneficial for the organization. What they are doing, the supervisors, they are actually imposing the work. They are forcing the employees to do the work in their way. They are actually not promoting the innovation amongst the employee. So that can also give them the stress. Employee can feel that they are not the individual. They are not the human resource. They can feel that they are actually just a puppet in the hand of the supervisor. So that can also give them the stress. So that is one of the issues we can say that can give the stress at the workplace. Or the very important issue of the stress nowadays, the job security. Like we can say there are large this number of the unemployment in Indian economy, and we can say that many of the companies, the private organization, they are actually working on retrenchment and layoff of the employees. So that retrenchment can and the layoff can give the stress of the job security amongst the employee. Employee can feel that even if they are working very properly, even if they are just accomplishing the task, achieving the deadlines, but still their job is not very secure. So that can also give them the stress, and that can also create a personal stress in their personal life. So that is one of the regions. The next thing that I can see nowadays in the organization is the promotional opportunities. Like what is happening in certain organization, they're having all the proper arrangement of the policies, procedure, strategy, everything is there. That is very much well organized. But what is happening, they are not focusing on the career growth of the employee. So that career growth is very important. Sometimes what is happening, I am at some place, I'm actually very feeling very secure at working that place. But what is happening, I can see my friends also, my colleagues also, that they are working in the different organization. And if they are after 10 years, they are at certain level up, and I am at the same level, then I can feel that I'm not getting the career opportunity. So the organization should also be at work as a learning organization. So that can one of the regions, there should be the employees growth must be there, one of the part of the organization policy. So that promotion opportunity, if not existing in the organization, that create a stressors. So that is one of the regions. Sometimes we can say if organization is not actually working on the employee relationship. So employee relationship, or we can say in another word, that is IR, industrial relation. So industrial relation is the relation between the employee and employee, the employer and employer, or with the outsiders. So if it is not properly managed, there is not a proper relationship between all the employees, or between the employer and the employee, or with the outsiders, then we can say the working environment is getting polluted, and the employee would not be able to just be comfortable in working that particular environment. So that can also create a stress among the employer. And another thing that we can also say from our, we talk about in context of the organization, the role clarity. Sometimes what is happening, that stress is there, but we are not actually feeling that, we are not actually having the proper idea of the stress. So that is happening because of the role clarity. Some assignment is already been assigned to us. Employees are actually accommodated with all the assignments, but they are not having the things, they are not having the proper information about the role. What is the proper role of that particular employee? So that can also create stress in the organization. So these are certain regions I can see from my side that yes, these are the stressors, that are the factors of the stress at workplace. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for explaining the question in such a lucid manner. Ma'am, I want to know what are the techniques of stress management employed by the professionals?
Okay. When we are talking, already we have discussed about the factors of the stress. So when we actually talk about the techniques of stress management, then yes, first we need to focus on why this stress is happening. How actually we can just think that stresses are not stress, actually stress. So we can see in stress, we can have the two forms of it. First thing is that stress is not always negative. Stress is positive also. Like we can say this, that is a huge stress. So if we have to just convert that negative stress into positivity, then we can say we are actually managing the stress in a proper way. So first thing is that we need to just keep track on the stressors. Like we need to put a track of the reasons of the stress, why it is happening. Like we can say sometimes what is happening, you are working in the organization, we are working in the organization, but we don't know that why we are getting stressed, what is happening with us, because we are not very much well aware about it. So that is what we need to know ourselves. We can just focus on the stressors, like what are the regions, what are the factors of the stress. The first thing that we need to put the technique is the keep track on the stressors, that why we are finding, why we are actually getting the stress in the organization. The first reason is identification of the stress. The second thing we can say, we need to focus on the healthy responses. So healthy responses is very important. Like every people knows about it, that sometimes what is happening, like if something is happening in the organization, we firstly try to react. We actually want to fight. But at that very moment, you need to stop yourself. That this is not the moment, we should not fight. We should have to go for a proper response. So reaction should not be there, response should be there. So this is the second technique that the professional can do with the stress management. That is developing the healthy responses. The third one, what I am just finding it out is establishing the boundaries. That establishing boundaries means, what I mean to say here, that we need to put a thin line between the personal and the professional stress. What is happening that sometimes if we are stressed in our organization, in our working place, we are actually keeping that stress into our personal life. And if we are having certain personal issues at our home, and that personal issues we are actually getting them moved from that place to our professional life. So that is actually not very good. What we need to do, we have to make a boundaries. We have to we have to handle all our stress reasons at the place where it is being done. जहां पे भी stress हो रहा है, we have to solve them there only. We don't have to put them from one place to another. So we need to establish the boundaries. That is the third technique what I can see from my side. The fourth one, I can see that we should take some time to recharge ourselves. Like we need to take a break. If certain stress is happening to us, what we need to do? We need to take a break, because break is very necessary. हम लोग में से कई लोगों ने सुना होगा, if certain things is getting happen to us, हम लोग कहते हैं, हमारे कई सारे जो हमारे बड़े होते हैं, elders होते हैं, they actually used to say us that yeah, you need to think on it, just take a break, you need to count just 1 to 10, then just think again, rethink about the situation where we should react or we should respond. So that timing to react is also very important when we have to just manage with the stress. So that is there, the fourth thing. The fifth thing that is also very important, like I was also having the industrial experience, and in that very thing, what I have seen in my organization, just talking with the supervisor is also a type of solution. If you are getting some stress in the organization, from the workplace you are getting some stress, and if you are having the conversation with your supervisor, then you can feel that yes, I can just cope up with the situation, because your supervisor can help you just to come out from that stress. You can also have the conversation with the trusted people, like you can have the trusted colleagues. So if you're having certain trusted people in your organization, certain colleagues in your organization, you can also have a talk with them. So they can also just help you in coming out from the stress. So that is one of the technique that we people can use. The next thing what I can understand just to coping with the stress or the managing the stress is just to reduce the stress triggers. Stress triggers is also very harmful to us. Like what is happening if we are under stress, certain stress, and we are talking with the people, they are very negative. So that can also just make you just go deeper into that stress. So what we need to do, we have to make ourselves stay from those people, or we have to make ourselves stay from those things. So that is also very important. We need to reduce the stress triggers. The next thing, the technique we can use is just keep on doing the things. If we stop ourselves, we cannot divert ourselves. So if a stress is happening, we need to divert ourselves from that particular stress. Yes, we have to solve that. We have to face that. But facing should be in a proper manner, not in a manner that we have to make ourselves more and more into the stress. So that is also very necessary, that we need to keep doing the things. And the very important aspects of stress management is doing some physical activities. Like we all must be aware about the some exercises, like breathing exercises are there, meditation is there. These are the techniques, the physical techniques that we can use also to just manage our stress. And the most importantly, when you are having the stress in your organization, you need to be humble at that very moment. If you are humble, you can take a proper decision. So just to get a proper decision, just to make a proper decision, we need to be very humble. So these are some techniques we can use in our organization when we are having some of or various stresses in the organization. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, it is always said that prevention is better than cure. So in case of stress management, how can a professional avoid stressful situations at workplace?
Yeah, very, very good answer. Very good question. Very good question. Actually, it is very important question, because yes, you are very right that prevention is always better than cure. If we are not keeping ourselves into more and more stress, we can say, yes, we need to put ourselves in a situation from that ourselves that yes, we need to cope up with the stress. So avoidance is always very necessary in case of stress. If we can avoid it, then we can manage the stress. So for the management thing, avoidance is one of the better step we can follow with. So the first technique through which we can avoid the stress is just to stay away from the conflicts. So from staying away from the conflicts is a very important technique that employees need to manage. What is happening sometimes, there are certain situations where conflicts are there. Conflicts are there with the colleagues, conflicts are there in a group, conflicts are there in the committees, conflicts are there with the supervisors, conflicts are there with the policies of the organization, higher authorities, we can have the conflicts. So if conflicts is there, we need to just put ourselves away from these negative conflicts. As I said, stress is not always negative. Stress is positive also, because if we are not having the stress, we cannot do the work. If you already just said me that, ma'am, you have to just give the face-to-face interaction just to talk on the topic of stress management. If I was not very much stressed to do the things, I might have been there for doing certain other things. So what can be there? Some little amount of stress is always actually needed when we want to do certain things. In the similar manner, if we want to just convert the things into a success, we need to have a positive conflict. So when we are talking here about the conflict, that conflict must be the positive one. If it is a negative one, you need to stay away from that particular conflict. The interpersonal conflict we can say in the organization is prevailing nowadays. The people are not liking to work with the certain people. They are actually having the interpersonal conflict, and that is not good for the health of the personal as well as for the organization. So staying away from the conflict is one of the techniques just to avoid the stressful situation. The second thing we can say, we should not gossip. So don't gossip in the organization. Go for the healthy talks. Always we should go for the healthy talks. The gossiping about the negativity of any person just to negate the event of the organization, that is not very good. So what we can say, we should always avoid the gossiping. So that can also give some stress. The third thing of the technique of avoiding the stressful situation from my side is just don't share too many personal things with your colleagues. If you are just giving too much personal opinion towards any of the policies of the organization, that can actually lead to create a larger situation of the conflict, and that conflict can not only harm the organization but also the employees, because employees are they're a part of the organization. So we should always try not to share too much personal thing with the colleagues, so that you can also just make yourself away from the stress. The fourth technique we can use to just avoid the stress is just be organized. So stay organized is also very important. If you're not organized, you can feel always that there is the lack of balance in your life. So that is also very important. Staying organized means you need to organize technically, emotionally, and at every step of the workplace. Like if you are very good at work, but you don't know how to just organize the tools of the working things, like you don't know how to manage the files, you don't know how to manage your table, your workplace, that can also give you some stressful situation. So stay organizing is also a very good idea when we are talking about the avoidance of the stress. The next thing what we can say just to avoid the stress is talk with the good people. As already I said in the last question, that yes, talk with the good people. That good people can just give you the idea that everything is about to the attitude of the. If having good attitude, you can see that everyone is but that can actually give you the negativity towards the organization. So talking with the good people, even if you are having the person of the negative attitude, but if you're talking with the good people, you can be also good like them. So that is also very important. You just talk with the good people, that can just stay yourself. It can just help you to stay from the stressful situation at the workplace. The next thing what we can do is just don't stuck at one place. If you are stuck at one place, you cannot go further. You cannot move on. So that stucking at one place is also not good for the stress. So if you want to avoid the stress, don't be at one place. Don't stuck yourself at one place. Just do good and be good. So that is there when we are talking about the stress management. The next thing what we can do, yes, most importantly, what I said about avoidance of the stress is talk with your supervisor. As I said in the last answer also, talk with the supervisors is also one of the type through which we can avoid the stress, or we can say that we should involve ourselves in the healthy and the meaningful works. So healthy and meaningful works is also very important. If you are doing certain things which is very healthy for the organization, that can actually give you the promotional opportunity, that can also give you a career growth, and that can also give you not to go with the stress. So it is also one of the technique, one of the things that can actually you have with having this avoidance of the stress. And the next thing is use your stress in a positive way. So that is also very good idea for this stress avoidance. So if you are using the stress is always there, you cannot have the situation where stress would not be there. Stress is always there. Once we are on this planet, we are actually with the stress. Everything, whatever we are doing in our personal life, in our professional life, everything is with the stress. If you have to get up early in the morning, that is also one of the subject of their stress. If some people don't want to just rise early in the morning, it is a subject that actually giving them the stress. So if we are using it in a positive way, we can say we are avoiding ourselves from this stressful situation at the workplace. So that stress must be used in a positive way. That is also a very good idea. So thank you so much. This is from my side. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, sometimes problems in personal life affect our professional output. So how can a professional make sure that problems in personal life do not affect his work and performance?
Okay. Yeah. It's again a good question. Yes, there are the situation when there are stresses in our personal life. Every employee, they're having their personal life. So there are the stressful situations are there in our personal life, but that stressful situation should not actually affect our professional life. That is very important. And from my side, if you are asking this question, is that it should be always vice versa. Like if personal stress should not affect our professional life, then professional life for stress should also not affect our personal lives. So that is the vice versa question. So if whatever the things I'm answering here, that could be go with or both the situation. So we can say yes, both are interconnected. If we have a stress from our personal life, it would certainly going to give the impact on our professional life. So first thing is that need is to manage it a proper way. The first thing is that I already answered in the last question, that is we need to take a break for a short duration. If we want that our personal life stress should not affect our professional life, and we are not actually taking a short duration break, then we can just mingle with both the situation. So what we need to do, if we are having a situation that our personal life is having certain type of stress, then take a break, think on it, that this is just for our personal thing. This is just for our personal life. And if that stress would going to affect our professional life, then I can also get some stress just to having this stress impact at our workplace. And that can also give a situation, I can just have a misconduct at the organization. So we need to take a break for a short duration just to think on it, that what is the impact of it, so that we should make a note on it, that yes, this is our personal issues and I should not involve these personal issues in our professional life. The second technique what we can use that this stress cannot impact our professional life is never take an immediate decision. So if you are taking an immediate decision, it means you are not thinking on it. So if you are under a stressful situation because of your, then you have to take a note on it, that yes, I cannot take an immediate decision, because that immediate situation can be the impact of our stress that I'm having in my personal life. So never take a immediate decision. The third thing what we can do is make a boundaries, as I earlier said. Yes, boundaries must be there. Boundaries is not only for the two works in the organization. Boundaries must be there for the personal and the professional life. So personal life stress should be at one part of the boundaries and the professional life thing should be at another part of the boundaries. So we need to make a line between these two life of employees. So if line is not there, then we can easily go with this side to this side and this side to this side. So making a boundaries between the stresses of the personal and professional issues, that is very much important when we are talking about the stress management, and we are talking about the personal life stress management, just not to impact our professional life management. The four technique we try to actually solve our personal issues and professional issues in that time duration only. If I'm having some personal issues, then if it is having a very quick solution, then what I can do, I can just think on that very moment. If I'm at home, I should not just carry them to our workplace. So what I can do, I can just think to handle. I just need to rethink on the issues, and I should try to just solve that issues when I'm at my home. So that issue would not be there when I'm working with the organization. So that is there with the organization also. If I'm having certain issues that is actually the stress from our personal life, then we need to solve them when are at the workplace. We should not take it away from that particular premise. So premise the specification is also very necessary. So we should aware about the premise specification. So premise is also very necessary. Like we cannot, if we are at once some membership there, so it is there. If we are having this stress at this place, I'll solve this stress at that place only. So that is very important. The next thing what I can see, how to handle with this personal issues so that it cannot impact our professional life is, yes, just don't start. That is also very necessary. Because what is happening, if I'm having certain personal life issues and I'm stuck in that, like I'm having very deep stress on that particular issues, and I'm stuck in myself at that point only. So what would happen? That stuck situation will actually disbalance my emotional strength of this physical body. So what would happen? I would not be emotionally balanced, and that emotional imbalance can create a stressful situation at workplace. So we need to move on. We cannot stuck ourselves at a certain mental level. So stucking at a certain mental level is also not a good idea. So we have to do certain things that can actually make ourselves just to keep. So at one place that is also one of the regions that can actually just give a mixture of this professional and personal life stress. So just don't start. Then yes, again I'm repeating myself, is doing the physical exercises, like you can do the meditation at your home, at your personal space. You can just do certain breathing exercises at your personal space. Then you should also talk with your family members that what is happening, how can we handle this. You should not only just keep yourself engaged in just solving the issues. You should also take the help from your family members. If you are having parents, if you are having a wife, you are having husband, if you are having children, you should also talk with them that how can we handle it, what is the proper way to handle it. Just keep help with them. So that can also give you some of the ideas that yes, these are the stressful situation and we can manage it all together. So what we can do, if management at our personal issues be done at our personal premises, then this can help us not to get that stress into our professional life or workplace situation. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, how to manage a situation when stress resulted in making errors at work?
Yeah. Okay. It's again a very good question and very relevant question nowadays, because when we are starting with the stress management, we actually wanting to talk about the errors that is happening with the stress. Like what is happening if I'm having some stress, but still I'm managing myself in a proper way, then what is the need of talking on it? So need is because there is an error, because there is an error connected with there is an error associated with the stress. If I'm in a stressful situation, I can just do some errors. And that error is a very negative thing. And that is why we are talking here about the stress management. So yes, there are the stressful situations that can actually lead to the errors, and that errors is very important to be managed. So that management is very necessary. So there are certain things what we can do when we want to just manage those errors that is happening with the stressful situation. First thing is that we should actually take care of ourselves. So taking care of ourselves is very necessary when certain errors happen. What is happening? Error is there. If some misconduct has been done by us, by the employees, if some misconduct has been done, it can be intentionally, can be intentionally. But what is happening? Misconduct has been done. Now there are consequences of it. So what we can do? First thing is that we need to take care of ourselves. So that is the first step. That if we are not taking care of ourselves, we cannot just be able to manage the things in a proper way, in a larger manner. So what we can do, we need to take care of ourselves. We should not make ourselves more stressed because of the error. So that is what, this is what I mean to say, that we need to make ourselves mentally strong when some errors has happened in the organization. So what we need to do, that stress management with our good mental condition. So taking care of ourselves, the first step. Second idea, what we can think on it, that try to solve the issues without any hurry. So if we are doing the things in a hurry, we cannot manage it at a larger stage, because in hurry we cannot take a proper decision. So we should actually try to solve the things or solve the issues without any hurry. We need to take a time. We need to think on the issues. We need to take a proper decision. So that decision must be taken by considering all the factors that is very relevant, and that can only be done when we are not doing things in a hurry. So that is also very important. The third step, the third techniques, what we can do is when error happens, it is natural. That can be done. Errors is there because human is are. So if one human resources are there, error would be there. So if error is there, then people should think logically, not emotionally. If errors has happened, you cannot say, okay, jo ho gaya, so ho gaya, we'll see. That cannot be done. That should not be your attitude, because error is your error. You have done something wrong. So that error, if happens, yes, it is natural, but still, if you are doing the frustration over it, that can just keep you again into a more stress. So what you have to do, you should think logically. So that logical thinking is very necessary when we need to manage with the errors associated with the stress. Then do is we need to talk with the trusted people, because trusted people can help you that how to manage these errors. Like what is happening, sometimes you have done some mistakes in the organization, you have done something wrong on the files, and that file cannot be, you cannot just revert it. So what you can do, you can just take a help from the people who are having the much more idea than you. Like the people can be your friend, the people can be your higher authority, and if that person is very knowledgeable, if that person is having better idea than you, then that person can help you how to just get yourself just get yourself out from that particular error. So that error management can be done through talking with, through trusted people, through conversation with the knowledgeable people. So that is also very important. The fourth, the next the thing that we can do just to manage with the errors that is happening with the stress is the keep perspective. So keeping perspective is also very good idea. What we can do, like something is happening, every time we cannot quickly handle the thing. Sometimes we can handle it quickly. If thing is very tiny in nature, then we can easily just done with a quick manner. But if something has happened that cannot be done quickly, then what we need to do, we need to keep a right perspective. If right perspective is not there, we can get confused, and that confuse can create more and more errors. So that is not a good idea, because if you are already in a this error situation, and if you are not keeping good perspective, that can create more this errorful situation. So that error will be there with the multiplication, and that can give you more and stress, and that stress will again just put you in some land of this error. So that error is not easily manageable. Keeping right perspective is also a good idea when we are talking about the errors that is with the stressful situation. The next thing we can say, yes, we need to keep ourselves calm. We need to keep ourselves in certain peace. And the most important thing is that if you have done some error, you need to acknowledge the thing, that you need to acknowledge that yes, this mistake has been done by me and I need to solve it. You cannot just keep yourself away from it. You cannot say, no, this is not my work, I cannot just solve it. So what you need to do, you need to acknowledge the mistake, what the mistake you have done, if it is a mistake of law, if it is a mistake of fact, but still you need to acknowledge it. And if you are acknowledging it, then you would be able to review the responses. The review the responses is also very important. What I mean with the review responses is, like, if you have done something and that can actually resulted into error, so that thing what you have done was not good, that's why it has been converted into error. So now you have to revisit it. What was that? What I have done? Why it happened? So that this response review is very necessary. So once you acknowledge the mistake, you need to review the responses also. So that review is also very good idea, and that can give you that these things we should not repeat in our future, and that repeating would not be there again, this error would not happen, and that cannot give us stress in the larger life of our work, this workplace. The next thing what we can do is just take stress in a positive way that I already discussed with. If some error has happened, we have to put that, yes, this error can be handled, but if stress is still there, if stress is always in the negative way, we cannot just move from that particular error, and we can have more and more stress in our life. So yes, we need to just acknowledge the mistake. We need to stay ourselves calm. We need to review the responses. We need to have the right perspective. We need to just believe believe in the trusted people in the organization. We need to talk on it. We need to take a proper care of ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. You came here to part in the discussion and explain the topic in such a lucid manner. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. My pleasure is all mine.